So with that, I'm really pleased and excited to announce that Juan Jose Goldschtein from the Organization of American States is here to talk to us about their case study. I think this is a really interesting use case. So Juan?
Thank you. Good morning. Okay. I think that in a few minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, I will try to tell you our journey to implementing a complete content management system to a very particular organization within the Organization of American States. But before telling you that, I'm going to tell you what the Organization of American States stands for. This is one of the oldest inter-American intergovernmental organizations that exists. It can be traced back to 1889. In 1948, with the adoption of the Charter of the Americas, this organization was born. What you are seeing there is the Permanent Council, because each of the 35 independent countries that conform the Western Hemisphere, or that's the Americas, have a seat there. So that would be like the board of directors, where each of the different countries has one seat. Trying to define which is the mission is not very easy. So what you are seeing there is some of the main challenges that this organization meets, basically on promoting human rights, promoting government, promoting democracy, trying to reach sustainable development in the countries, trying to implement international inter-American law. But in our particular case, what we are trying to see today is what we have done regarding human rights. The organization has two bodies that work with human rights. The first being the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights, located here in Washington, D.C., our customer. And then we have the Inter-American Court of Human Rights that resides in Costa Rica, eventually our prospect in the near future for content management systems. You know, each country of the 25 countries that have adhered to the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights has the right to send petitions regarding the violations of human rights. This can be done by people, group of peoples, organizations, in a variety of ways. So what I'm trying to show it to you, is that all these petitions come in very different phases. You can receive a manuscript letter, and from there you can go to a very thorough and complete multimedia presentation. So all those types of documents that you are seeing there have to be managed in a unique repository. You all know that all these type of documents end up like this. So, and taking into account that this is the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights is basically conformed by lawyers, you know that these documents, although being digitalized, are going to stay there. So we have I would say, two-side problem, trying to digitalize all this, trying to put this in order, and also maintaining in Iron Mountain, okay, the boxes that are needed in the case that the original documents might be used. In order to try to figure this out, if this is working, yeah. The number of petitions that have been received throughout the time are skyrocketing. As more and more answers to the petitions are being made, more and more petitions are being filed. That's not good news, but that's the truth. The truth. So in order to be able to manage this, what we have done is something very simple. We used to have a legacy system where all the lawyers were, in a voluntary way, putting all their data regarding the petitions and the cases they were handling. In order to be able to set up a content management system approach, we had to make that mandatory for the lawyers and develop the content management system that was completed with a document scanning processes and a document scanning check-in. So this is a very high-level approach to the system, but let me show you some things that I think that are interesting here. And some numbers. In order to be able to manage this, 17 defined workflows have to be deployed. Those 17 defined workflows are the way in which the petitions are being managed throughout the system, throughout the lawyers, depending on the countries and depending on a lot of different issues that give rise to having over 150 security roles. So if you combine the 17 workflows with the 150 security roles, you will see the complexity that is embedded in the system. And there's where our solution, or I would say the UCM, show its versatility. 27 different document types were defined so that we could typify everything that was going into the system in 27 different documents. And over 80,000 documents were checked in. Perhaps the number is not very astonishing, but you have to take into account that each one of those numbers, one petition, can be the difference between life or death in some cases. When you reach this moment of the presentation when there is only one slide left, the question that you ask is, okay, this is our story, but how does this story apply to you? What is it that we can give to you that perhaps may be useful for you? So we decided to show you what we could call lessons learned, or we could call our key driving factors. Some of them may seem trivial, but sometimes being trivial, we don't take care of them. And the first one is get your user involved from day one. In order to, we were outnumbered by the number of lawyers that we have regarding the IT staff that were working with them. So what we did was we trained one of them. So we take one lawyer to the dark side, okay? And we trained them on our software development framework so that we were able to have one of our own with them. This really paid off because the gap was bridged in a very, very particular way. And having an excellent project manager that knows how to go from one side to the other was crucial. So a multi-departmental team was made. When we talk about top management that has to be involved, in our cases, what we did was not to involve them, in a very high-level way, but involve them into the business. Let's say, showing them how the system was evolving, showing them how the system was the prototypes were being developed. Proof of concepts were crucial because we have to go back, not once, but many times, back to the drawing board because, in our experience, when we started deploying this, the organizational structure of the commission had to change. Because if not, all the different workflows that we had couldn't be really done in a thorough way. The fourth thing is the careful selection of the partners. We started with the wrong foot. We missed that. So the first approach that we had was working with a business partner. It didn't work through. So we decided in the middle of the project to recreate the project and do it by our own. Hopefully, this is not always the case, but it was our case. Strong communication with the customer was a key. After each proof of concept, we carried out a lot of training sessions. And sometimes, although the proof of concept was enough, through the training sessions, we were able to learn that although the proof of concept did pass, there were a lot of problems with the end user, so we have to come back to the drawing board again. Last but not least, the use of mobile devices. For today, the use of mobile devices that are directly attached to the applications make our commissioners that go to each of the different countries very, very easy to manage the petitions and to manage the cases. In a nutshell, this is what we have done. I don't want to take much time from you. I hope that this last slide has been useful for you, and thank you for your attention.
So thank you, Juan Jose. I think it's an amazing use of the technology, but it's also just an amazing organization. So if you have some time on your iPad or whatever later, not during our keynote, take a read on this organization. It is really an amazing organization that does some real good in the world, and we were happy just to get the chance to work with them.